What up, everybody? We're back with another episode. This is, I believe, 165 of the L&C Podcast. I am Christian. This is Lorenzo, a.k.a. Lorenzo.
They call me.
Why are you so stoic? You look devastated by something.
I was trying to choose how to be. I was like,
this is our second recording today, so I wanted to make sure you're okay, that you're not traumatized or something, that you're okay with this. Something. I didn't get your consent beforehand.
Consent is sexy, you know what I'm saying? So yes, I appreciate you being mindful of that.
Yes.
Clock it.
Clock the T, sis.
No, this is clock it.
Oh yeah, that's clocking it. Yeah. How do you know that? What's going on with you that you know that?
I spend a lot of time with people's daughters. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot. You know, what am I to do? All this vast knowledge and nothing to do with.
Right. I was like, I thought we had reached a revelation. You've been with people's sons or something, because that's a gay-coded terminology. But yeah, women have stolen that. They've co-opted it.
I think at this point, I'm pretty sure I know where I'm at.
I like how your voice is getting deeper. You're readjusting. I think at this point, I know that's not even possible. I wouldn't even know where to start. Ass end up, dick end sideways. Yeah, I get it. Hey, I'm not offended. I'm just saying. That's pretty gay. That's some fag shit right there.
No, I was talking to this guy the other day. I do mad feminine shit because how some women they stick their tongue out, and I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, in my head, I was like, hey, that's mad feminine. Like, I do a lot of feminine shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But
feminine
it is
king.
what it is. Who I am.
We stand a straight feminine king. We do have a guest, so I want to get to them in just a moment. But before we do that, please like and subscribe to the podcast here. It helps support us. It helps us keep going and helps sustain our 2-episode days like today, where we're doing 2 recordings back to back. So you add fuel to the fire by subscribing, by liking, by sharing the podcast. Most importantly, we're on YouTube solely right now, but eventually we'll be back on Apple and Spotify. So be on the lookout. But in the meantime, and one more thing I wanted to say up top this time, please get tickets to Punchlines and Players at City State Public House on May 30th. That's Saturday, May 30th. Please get your tickets now.
Be there or be square.
Tickets are on Eventbrite, so look up Punchlines and Players May 30th and get tickets on Eventbrite.
Do it.
Now we do have a guest.
Message us.
There we go. Yeah, message us. Yeah. Well, Lorenzo. Message Lorenzo. He'll point you in the right direction.
Message me in general. If you message me and be like, hey, I watched the podcast, I will, we could be best buddies, pen pals from there. You just got to add the context. If you just message me, I'll ignore you. But if you like, hey, I watched the podcast, and I'll be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Provide an explanation. All right. Well, we do have a guest. Guests are back. This guest is another newer comedian. We're talking off camera. He said he's about 5 weeks in, give or take. So fresh off the presses. I'm really, really pleased to introduce this guy. He's got a lot of show business experience, but comedy, his foray into comedy is relatively new. So I'm pleased to present CJ Howard to the podcast. How you doing, my man?
Good. Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Thank you for coming on.
Great experience. Yeah. So, like I said, I just started fresh into comedy. So yeah, I'm pretty green, new on the scene. So trying to get my experience in and just get comfortable standing and talking in front of people.
And you're another one too, who, we would just have no idea. We just talked to Kyla Benedict earlier today. So for those of you watching, listening, these were in the same day, but you're another person who, you're, like you said, you're pretty green or whatever, but nobody would be any the wiser because of how you present yourself and the confidence you have on stage. it really betrays that. So you're really doing a great job of selling yourself, you know.
Well, I'm glad you couldn't tell if I'm new, because I think the first night, actually, you know, Kyle and I both did our first open mic at the same time.
And I was there, yeah.
Inexorably linked like that forever, you know. I call her my stand-up homie. So we're buddies. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, that first night though, I was so nervous. And everybody was like, I couldn't even tell you're nervous. But I was like, literally, I had to put my hand on the stool to stop from falling over because my leg was shaking so much.
Looking like he doing the little Elvis shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But no, I'm glad it didn't show. You know, and I've like you said, I worked in show business in the past. I used to work as a production assistant on like big movies and TV shows. Did that for about 5 or 6 years, and you know, I've been around it a lot, and I just never been the one that was like the center of attention. So that was much different for me to like sort of break into that and do that, start doing it that way.
Definitely. What prompted that? What made you decide to try it out? It's just something you've always wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of always, in the last like 5 or 6 years, I've been threatening to do comedy, you know, right. You know, whether people wanted me to or not, you know. So I kind of, you know, I was in a relationship that ended. It was a marriage. And I had expressed to her, you know, back in like 2021-ish, or actually really 2019, actually been longer than that I wanted to try stand-up. I wanted to try find an open mic and go do stuff. And she told me I wasn't funny. And, you know, I kind of internalized that. And, you know, we split about 2 years ago. And for the last 2 years, I've been...
Wait. Did you split because she told you weren't funny? Was that kind of like the axe?
I was about to say, you fucking should have. I smell hateration and holleration in the dance to me, damn it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely some hateration. I mean, there was multiple reasons for it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm completely innocent in the situation, you know, because it takes 2 to tango.
Mm-hmm. You know. You said 3?
No, it wasn't 3.
I was going to say, who's got the extra personality? Because the most likely somebody does. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well. I mean, it for me. When we moved down here to Virginia, I was in New York before I moved down here for 10 years. So I'll just tell you my background so you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, please lay it all out.
I was born in LA. I was born a small black child in LA, and now I'm brown, so it's progressed. Now I was born in LA, and then my parents at a very early age moved me up to Seattle to get away from where they were in LA, because it was not. I mean, it was an okay area, but they just didn't want me to grow up in that environment down there, and you know, it was cost of living, everything was getting high. It was back in 1980, you know, 81. And then we moved to a small town up in Washington State. I actually grew up on an island, Fox Island, Washington. If you've never heard of it, there's a good reason for that, because even people that live in the state don't know it exists. And this island was so small that we had one store. It would close at 8:00 at night, and the next closest thing was like 30 minutes away, you know, if you wanted to go. And, you know, as I grew up and I got into college, I played baseball, went to junior college and played baseball out there, and stayed at the house for a couple of years, and then decided I wanted to be where it was at. And where it was at, I heard New York never slept. So I was like, let me go check that out. And I love New York. I stayed there, you know, was there for 10 years, went to school, got my first degree there, played ball, and then actually ended up getting a job teaching at the school after I graduated with my BA. I was teaching video production classes, running the studio and stuff like that. And then after doing that for a few years and kind of repeating myself to kids who didn't want to listen, I decided to go. I started getting like, you know, little gigs here and there as a production assistant on the show. The first big movie I ever worked on was Salt with Angelina Jolie. And then I was a PA. I was literally just stopping people from crossing the street. So I don't know if you've ever seen those. If you ever go to New York and there's a film set, the first people you're going to encounter on a film set are production assistants, and they're literally there to stop you from walking in the shot, or from stopping to cross the street and get hit by a stunt car that you're not looking for. because oftentimes they like run red lights and like break the law when, because they control the whole street or whatever. So I did that, and then started getting a bunch of different jobs on films as a PA. But I also did my own stuff. I produced and directed a couple short films. I got hired to produce and direct a short film for a friend that wanted to write this, had something he wanted to say. It was a film called Enough is Enough. We got into some festivals, and just kind of was doing the thing and was starting to progress through the ranks and to meet people. And then my ex-wife had the idea to move down here because she wasn't working at the time. And I figured, you know what, I'm working a lot of hours and doing like 100-hour weeks. Let's go. Let's go to Virginia, see what that's all about. It's a beautiful area. Northern Virginia is where we're at now, where I'm at, I should say now. And when I got down here, the idea was that I would work a 40-hour week job, which would probably pay about the same as I was making as a production assistant, but then I could also work on my creative stuff on the side. But every time I try to do something creative, that would just get shot down. Oh, I want to, make this short film. She's like, I don't think you should really do that.
Right.
All right, that's really not for you. And then, over time, that kind of, as a relationship goes, it kind of escalated to different things. And then, eventually it was just enough. I mean, we're still cool with each other. We have a kid together, and I'm still really, involved with my daughter. I see her every other night, tuck her in, stuff like that. But after moving down here, after splitting the last couple of years, I've been sort of like rebuilding myself. I've lost a bunch of weight. I tell a joke. I've lost 280 pounds in the last 2 years, and 150 of that went like that in the divorce.
Right.
But I've lost about 120 pounds in the last year, working out, diet, and exercise. And
congrats.
Trying to get some things going here. Stand-up just happened yeah, thank you. The stand-up just happened to be one of those things that I wanted to do, and like I said, I've been threatening to do it for a long time.
Well, be careful. You'll gain it back in stand-up because, we're at all these dive bars and places with wing specials and burgers. And beers. Everyone's got to buy one beer to go up, so be very careful. That's how I put it all back on. I was in the same position where I lost an extreme amount of weight and I put it all back on when I started this. This is definitely a sedentary game. Because you'll drive far to go to places, but I mean, what's driving? You're sitting on your behind listening to podcasts and then walking up to the venue.
I mean, I do Uber on the side, so I understand that. That's how I kind of think I gained it in the first place, was just being sedentary and not doing it. And then
absolutely,
actually I've kind of stagnated the weight loss, as you mentioned that, in the last 5 weeks, because I've been eating a lot of brisket.
The Hog Shack, for sure.
Going to the Hog Shack, they got good brisket there. So if you're ever in Manassas on a Wednesday night, come check out Hog Shack. I'll probably be there. So
definitely. So are you liking sorry, Lorenzo. Are you liking stand-up? I just wanted to ask, how do you feel like you're doing so far, 5 weeks in? Is it something that you're going to pursue long term, or is this kind of just like you wanted to try it and now you're just hanging out? What are your feelings about it?
Oh, I'm all in now. I got the bug for sure. I originally was just like, maybe just do this one time. I literally went there, didn't know anybody. That was the first night when we met the first night there at the Hog Shack, and Kyle and I did our first stand-up. And my philosophy was like, let me go do this. I don't know anybody here. If I'm terrible, nobody laughs, then I can never come back and nobody will ever come. You know what I mean? I just disappear into the night. You know what I mean? But I felt like it was a good experience. I made it. I wasn't cracking the whole room up, but I wasn't expecting that. I got a few laughs. It was a good time, and got some good feedback from people like yourself and a couple of other comedians that were there. And I recognized right away that it felt like it was just this is a community that's outside of sort of the conventional communities that you could think of. And I'm, my whole life, I've been one of those people where, I played baseball, right, in college, but I hung out with musicians, actors. I hung out with all the creative types. You know what I mean? I didn't just stick to one group. And it feels like this group of people in this specific area, in the Northern Virginia, DC area, is sort of like the same kind of thing that I was, where I'm just kind of you can go into any room and talk to somebody and make a friend, that kind of a thing. And so, and everybody's been really helpful and, really giving good advice about what things to do. And like my last 2 weeks, I've bombed once each week, and I've done really good. And so it's kind of creating this like, I got to go back out and do it again because I can't leave on that note. I got to come back and do it come back and go out on a high note.
It's give and take, and really it's 50-50 every time. As much as you can do to prepare for the worst possible outcome, there's still going to be a lot of stuff that's out of your control. More is out of your control than's in your control with stand-up. So somebody could be having a bad night, somebody could be super drunk, somebody could just have a bone to pick, and they're going to ruin your night, or everyone is determined not to laugh for whatever reason. Maybe they've been ambushed by the show. You'll hear that a lot, ambushed by comedy. That's a lot of open mics because people go to a restaurant first to eat, I think, and have conversations. But if there's stand-up happening in the background or in the foreground, that could ruin their evening, perhaps. Yeah. Even if it happens on a schedule, even if it happens every week, you can't count on every person in the room to know that. So you just go do your best. And what you should measure isn't always, okay, did I not get as many laughs as I wanted to? What you should measure right now is like, have I been able to recite what I came there to say? Unbroken, in a way that's coherent, in a way that I can be proud of. And then once I've accomplished that, then it becomes, okay, what can I do in the moment to address what's making people uncomfortable, or how can I loosen a room up? That's kind of the next step after you got your set down, locked in. It's like, okay, now let me try to affect change in a room that isn't cooperating with me. Which is largely crowd work, bomb lines, things of that nature that break the ice. Because a host is supposed to do that, but they can only do so much. And especially in an open mic, a host only gets like 5-10 minutes up top, and then it's kind of just like they'll say a couple things in between each person, but they have to keep it moving. Normally, with a showcase, the host can come back and break the ice again after each performer, because there's only like 4 or 5 performers on the ticket on the event. So with open mics, though, it's kind of like every man for himself. Good luck, get up there, do your 5 minutes, and make the best of it. And sometimes that means being a little bit of a host yourself by saying oh, clap for the bar staff, make sure to thank the waiters and waitresses, everybody. Tip your waiter. Just saying things like that gets people locked in. It allows them to participate for a moment, and then they focus back on you. So that's just some unsolicited advice from me.
I appreciate all the advice. I mean, I know I've heard some people, like I'm one of those people. I was an athlete, and part of my thing was like, I always want to know how to perform at my optimal. You know what I mean? As an athlete. And I'm kind of putting that same mindset into this, where I want to always like after I do a set, I film every set and I go back and I watch it. I see what works, what didn't work. And I try to think about like ways to make something work, or maybe just something just wasn't funny at all. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe it was the moment, or maybe it was the way I said it, or maybe it was the fact that somebody was having a fist fight in the back corner or something. You know what I mean? Like,
for real though, real, all those factors. All those things come into play every single time, because every moment is a different one with open mics. At least with showcases, at least with a ticketed event, people paid to be there. So they're going to shut up. They're going to sit down and they're going to pay attention because they paid money for this. And so it's almost a layup with most showcases. But with open mics, it's like, who the fuck's this guy with the microphone?
Whatever,
Who's this
they're like, oh, they're doing this shit. I just wanted to get a fucking beer and some pretzels.
Exactly.
And they're like, this guy's not even fucking funny. Or they're like, oh, hey, this guy's actually, you know what I'm saying? Like,
give a free show. I want my money back.
I had to endure these fucking clowns. Like, I want a free drink.
One show at Hog Shack, the one that I think I would consider a bomb, like a real bomb. I'm pretty sure I know why. There was a family in like the middle table, and Keith Becker, I think, was the first comic, and he did like 5 minutes of blowjob jokes, and it was like 2 kids that were like way too young, and I'm like, okay. And then that came up third, and everything was just silent, and I'm like, okay. And like, so I mean, I think that was like my 3rd time doing stand up ever, so I didn't know how to handle that. Like, I didn't know how to like walk up there and be like,
because and the thing too is like, because you come preparing what you have, your real jokes, the jokes that you feel you want to tell, and then like some, there's clean comments, but everybody's not a clean comment. So then you're like, this is what I thought I was going to tell. Now I've only got so much I could actually say, considering the children, the ages of the children, what you have prepared. You might only have one joke, or you might have to go to something that you were kind of working on the sidelines. Like, you're like, I don't have nothing that I could tell in front of anybody's child. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I've got this kidnapping joke, this Jeffrey Epstein joke. I can't tell these,
Right.
Yeah. No, and I want to say, for the record too, we love Keith. We've had Keith on the podcast actually in the past. Go check that episode out. And that surprises me because he's pretty sharp. He's like the kind of guy I feel like would adapt, but on an open mic any given night, who really gives a crap? You're maybe leave the restaurant with your kids. I don't know. I've had the same experience in that room with Hog Shack, where there was a family and they had their kid like on an iPad the whole time, and it was like a little kid, and they said up top, they're like, hey, very clearly this is stand up happening now. They were like done eating, they didn't have any reason to be in there, like it's just the parents drinking, and it's like, why do you need your kid, like your toddler, in here while this is happening?
But you know what though, to remember in 2020 the most popular song of that year, at least in hip hop?
No.
You remember how that song went?
Nope.
Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. All over TikTok, all over YouTube. The kids are seeing that shit. They've heard worse, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So real talk, like.
And I didn't mean to throw any shade on Keith. I love Keith too. He's hilarious. Like, I just think maybe he was trying new material, and the host did warn the family straight up at the top. He's like, this is not. He's like, this is not really, this is not the place. PG-13. If y'all want to stay, he's like, you can stay, kind of a thing. And so I mean, they made the decision after that to remain, and then but all I'm just saying though is that, like, I definitely understand there's it's very tough depending on the room that you come into, and some rooms are primed. Like, I did a competition at the Salisbury week before last, and I actually had a really good set. I did a really good tight 5 minutes. I was off book with everything. I wasn't looking at my my notes or anything. And it was all rehearsed, and I had the room. Everybody was laughing. Had people involved. It was a really good vibe. But those people were there to see comedy. Like, those people came there for the specific purpose of, we're going to watch these people be funny, or try to be funny in front of me.
Yeah, so you see the difference. You see exactly what it looks like to have a scenario set up for success versus, okay, like, this is just some night of the week to some average people.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. You've had that experience, and that's an excellent contest. I'm going to be there for the final round on July 2nd. So if you're watching, come out and support. It's every Thursday. They have people competing to move on to the final round, July 2nd, but it's every single Thursday at, I think, 7:30 p.m. at the Salisbury Center in Manassas, not Salisbury, Maryland, to our listeners.
I'm done.
Lorenzo's in Salisbury, Maryland, which is way further.
I was like, what you doing all the way down here?
No.
Well, I'm gonna be back out there. If this comes out sooner before it, I'll be out there this Thursday, the 28th.
Okay,
of May. And then every other Thursday, because of my alternating schedule, I go tuck my daughter in every other night and read her stories at her request. It's kind of the condition of our agreement. Like, we both. I love my daughter. First of all, like, I never thought, when I became a father, like before becoming a father, I never thought there would be another person in this world that I could, feel like I couldn't live without them. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's because I never met the right woman. It's entirely possible. But, with her, like, I know I can't live without her in my life, and she can't live without me. So and my ex is nice. She knows that. She appreciates the fact that, I'm still very involved. I go help her out with her homework. I do, because, math or whatever and stuff. And I tuck her in and read her stories every other night, basically, during the week. So every other week until I can get in, or until the finals, I'm going to try to be getting into the finals too, for that. So I'll be there, the 28th, and then 2 weeks after that, and then 2 weeks after that until the final show. And then I'll be at the final show whether I'm in it or not. I'm going to come and support if I'm not, and if I'm in it, then great.
Nice. That's what's up. And to everybody listening, come out on the 28th. That's going to be this week. This will be out before that. So it's a free event. So even if you're watching, it's totally free. But you can reserve seats online. Go to the website, Laugh at Manassas, and it'll take you to the Salisbury Center website, and you can reserve your seat to watch the show, or you can just show up. There's usually enough tickets at the door available, again, to redeem for free. So don't worry about it. But go. They have a full bar service. It's an old movie theater that they converted into an event center. So they have all types of variety of events. They have concerts, they have fights, they have poker tournaments. They got it all going on at the Salisbury Center. And it's Nikki and Simone are the two running the comedy contest, and they're the judges in effect as well. They have guest judges joining them every week, but the two of them, they have a podcast together. So check that out. I just want to make sure I'm getting all that right. Yeah, I think so. So check that. Yeah, Laugh at Manassas. Check that out. Every Thursday, final round, July 2nd. So how do you feel now, CJ, having done your first competition, having been in the running for that, and you get to continually compete until the final round? But I mean, how does it feel in that environment?
I mean, I actually really like that. It's kind of funny because I've been talking to a lot of the other comics, and they're saying that, actually Hog Shack is one of the tougher rooms to be in, just because people aren't there for comedy. You never know what the crowd's going to be like. And I didn't really understand appreciate that, because I'd done Electric Palm once, and that was a good set, but it was mostly comics there for that one, because it was the ASAP, the week of the ASAP graduation. And then doing the Salisbury was a different experience for me. And it was like, for me, it felt, I don't know how else to say it, but it felt easier to deliver because first of all, there's a spotlight right on you, and you can't see anything. Like, I could barely see anybody in the crowd. So I didn't have to I didn't have the feeling of people staring at me make me laugh, funny man, so the pressure is kind of off in that regard. So, which is kind of, I guess, maybe the opposite of how most people feel under the bright lights of it. I mean, I liked it because I was like, well, I can just kind of just sit up here and talk and waiting to hear if people laugh. And if they do, then great. And if not, then I guess I sucked.
Good.
I feel like the thing with comics too is because so with some comics, they want you to be funny. Some of them want you to be the funniest motherfucker ever. Some of them, they want to be the funniest person in the room, so they want you to be funny but not too funny. You know what I'm saying? And there's tons of stuff you gotta look for, because sometimes you'll see people leave the room when you go up, and it's like, are they leaving the room because my set's not worth watching? But then it could be maybe they're leaving the room because I'm funnier than them, and they don't want to have to hear it and admit it. They don't want to hear the difference in laughs. You know what I'm saying? So it's yeah. I love the comic though.
Yeah. Well, I haven't encountered. Maybe I have encountered something like that, but I mean, I haven't been cognizant of it. You know what I mean? I'm a very positive person, and I will never try to talk down about somebody else or besmirch them, or try to lower them, or if I'm in the room and somebody's funnier than me, I'm happy about that, because I got to see some good comedy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the way I look at it.
You're always learning. You're always absorbing information. That's not to say stealing jokes or anything, but it's literally you're just you're seeing how it's done. You're seeing how it can be done well, at all times, and
Right.
and every performance that you see is a learning experience. At least that's how I look at it too. So I love just showing up and just watching people for that same reason, because I want everyone to succeed. When everyone's doing well too, it's like everybody can ride that wave, everybody can have a good time one after another, and those are the best nights. Like the other night with Heather Joyce in the room, it was a few weeks back. I mean, that was some of the most fun I've had at Hog Shack in particular, was just because everybody one after another was just tearing it up and having a great time. So there's nothing as good as that feeling when everyone's succeeding.
Right. And, there's a saying, like, great filmmakers watch great films.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, great comedians, it's not that they take and steal from those films. It's just that they get inspired by them, or, they learn different techniques. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give for instance, like, the other night at the Hog Shack. Well, no, actually, it was at Hog Shack. I was watching. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jess. Okay, Jessica G. She was there. She was up before me. I'm sorry, my brain. I have a long day today. But she was there before me, and like there was a lot of crowd interaction during her set, and she kind of rolled like instead of just, well, she's been doing it for a while. I think she's been doing it for like 5 or 6 years. I don't know. Like she seemed very, very comfortable in front of people. But like when that interaction started happening, instead of sort of steamrolling through them with her set, she kind of like played around with, she's like, oh, okay, well then like let's have a conversation real quick. You know what I mean? Like, and then got it back on the track, kind of a thing. So like just seeing that and being like, oh, okay, so there's a way to do it without like just steamrolling through and just trying to tell your jokes, and like, you know what I mean? Like, which is what I probably would have tried to do. Like I would have been like, right, anyway, moving on, like, but I've only been doing this for 5 weeks. So
it's just like what I said earlier, though. You're so early on that the first goal, prove you can recite your set. And the second goal is, okay, now have fun with the audience. Now get everybody on board the whole time. Capture people's attention. If there's a distraction going on, address it. If there's a weird feeling in the air, address it. Talk about it, because that's what people want. Because if you feel it's weird, they feel it's weird, and they're just waiting on it. They're
like, who's supposed to say something?
Exactly.
And whoever says something, people are automatically gonna like
they're gonna laugh. They're gonna light up, because it's like, oh, thank God we're not crazy for thinking that something's off right now.
They might even thank you just for at the end, bro. Thank you so much for saying. You know what I'm saying? Like literally.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's a real. The people come shake your hand and be like, I was waiting for somebody to talk about that noise in the back, that ice machine, or the guys talking about sports at the top of their lungs. I was waiting for somebody.
It's like how Christian was like, y'all hear that clicking? Am I crazy? They're like, I thought it was just me. I thought I was, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I thought it was only my problem.
Is it
I'm
bad?
glad to
Tell
know
me.
It wasn't just
tell me right now. Is it bad? Like, please.
No, I'll
cut it off.
I don't hear. He said I cut it off.
I just smacked his ass because that's funny. I'll show you later. I'll show you. So I mean, you're totally getting it. Like, and a lot of it's intuitive. A lot of it's sort of self-explanatory, but it's not always obvious at first, because at first you're getting over the nerves. You're getting over the stage fright. Like you said, you're at the point in the beginning where you're leaning just to stop from shaking, where you just need to stabilize yourself in the moment. So those kinds of nerves go away once you've been humbled enough, once you've done it enough times, which for some people that's a couple months, for some people that's a year. There's still people years in that haven't overcome the nerves, but that's what puts you ahead of the curve. That's what puts you ahead of so many other people in this, is that you seem to have already dominated the stage presence aspect. You seem to have, you're very sure of yourself, or at least present that way on stage, to where nobody can really tell that you're new at this. So now it becomes like, getting out of your own head, and how do you talk to people in the moment? And you're saying you did that in the contest too, and I'm sure that people noticed that, and it made it more of a fun time for everybody. So
yeah,
I mean, good on you.
Well, even Ace told me the other day that I did really well at the contest, because he was there. He was one of the judges, and he was like, "You did really well that night. You know, that was one of the best I've seen you do." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like that's an improvement. Like,
always improving."
And I'm just, that's what I'm always trying to. Yeah, I'm always, and you know, I try, and everything I do, I try to improve a little bit every time. You know what I mean? Like, because what's the point of life if you're not trying to do something a little bit better than you did before? You know what I mean? No matter what it is, whether you know, it's working out, or you know, stand up, or writing, or I do a lot of writing, so you know, I try to, you know, incorporate the stuff that I've written in the past into my stuff that I'm doing on stage, which is, you know, part of the process for me. But you know, when I'm in front of people, well, so here's a secret. I do have a secret. So I do have sort of experience sort of being in front of people, not necessarily on a stage doing stand-up. I used to umpire baseball. And I used to umpire youth baseball, and I got all the way up through college, in the college ranks. It was like summer league college, you know. And you have to be sure of yourself. Even if you don't know what's going on or what the hell you're doing, if you present that authority, that feeling of, you know, this guy knows what he's doing.
Definitely.
You know, like, you know, like, so it's sort of a fake it till you make it kind of a thing.
You got to make a call. You fake it till you make it. That's exactly right. Because none of us are really experts in this, because, I mean, what's there to be an expert in? Are you going to know what to do in every scenario? No, you kind of have to have a catch-all for whatever happens. And that's what you rehearse. You rehearse like, okay, it's not a skill tree. It's not a tree diagram or flow chart of, you know, this happens, then I must do this exact thing. There's no exact. It could be anything.
You know what I'm saying?
So like, you do have to be confident. You're kind of a con man up there on stage of like selling, like, I'm the master of this moment. These 5 minutes are mine. Everybody look up front, pay attention. I'm telling a story that you're going to want to listen to, and the way you do that is by taking command and establishing yourself. So no, that's such a good comparison, because you really do, like, I'm sure there's all these parents that are like, no, that wasn't a ball, or, you know, that wasn't even a strike, that want to combat you in the moment, but you have to get up there and be like, nope, I'm making a call right now. It is what it is. You suck it up. We got to move on.
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, that, you know, doing umpiring baseball was one of those things where actually when I was young, my dad, who used to umpire baseball, he actually used to coach me up until I was about 12, and I started throwing too fast for him to be able to catch me. And then he was like, I'm going to umpire now, and you got to go coach. You got to go to these travel ball teams and stuff like that. So, but he used to tell me, even if you have no idea what is going on, you have to act as if you are in control and you know what's happening, and sell it. Just sell it. And they would just, you know, so that means, like, even if, like, you know, that's a ball, and like, what, that was the ball, it's right down the middle. No, it was a ball. We're moving on. You know, like, let's go. Like, you know, and just kind of like present that, you know, that era of like, nope, that's it. We're done. Let's go. You know, that kind of a feeling. And I guess that is an applicable skill. You know, I didn't realize that I had. And, you know, and one of the other things I used to do too as a production assistant in New York, what you would do is stand, like, the first job I ever had, like I said, was on this movie Salt. And I'll never forget the first day. It was a big shoot. It was just above Times of Grand Central Station. It was the scene in the church. I don't know if you remember the movie Salt, but there's this huge scene in this church where there's a chase happening. And we had locked down like 30 square blocks of Manhattan, and people were not happy because, like, they were getting directed down. And by the time they get to me, I'm like, no, you got to keep going. And they're like, well, you know, like, whatever. But I would be standing there holding 30 people, and, you know, they don't, like, when you're a production assistant, they don't, like, take you aside. There's no training, right? They don't train you. They just
like,
throw
stop
you out
people
there and,
at
like,
all costs.
Good luck.
Whatever you need to do.
Don't touch them, because you know, you got to stop them with your voice and with, you know, like, hey, you know, like, whatever. So, you know, I had, kind of been doing that for, 4 or 5 years already, where I was just standing out in the street corner yelling at New Yorkers, telling them they can't cross the street when they damn well knew they could if they wanted to,
Yeah.
And there's actually one funny story. I was working on this movie called Premium Rush. Probably never saw it. It was this bike messenger movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Michael Shannon was in it too. It's a big movie. And I had been out of position incorrectly by the key. He had put me on the median on Broadway, and there was a stunt scene happening directly behind me, and they were heading southbound on Broadway. And what it was, this car came down and slid, did a power slide around a corner and went out of the frame that way. And I was right on the corner, right where the power slide was happening. And he had meant to push me back over to the other side of the street to stop people from even coming into the street. And so as we're rolling on the first take, this couple comes walking right over, and I'm like, no, you got to stop. There's a movie, we're shooting a movie. There's a stunt scene. And then behind me, before the stunt happens, there's nothing in the street because it's intentionally done that way so that they can be free to do their stunt, Yeah. And the guy's looking at me there's nothing going on over here. And he's about to walk out into the middle of the street. And I put my arm out, I can't see it, but I had my arm extended and just got in front of him. And I was like, stop, man. And as soon as I said that, the car came power sliding behind me and went around the corner. And he was like, you just saved my life. And I was like, yeah, I tried to tell you to stop. We're shooting a stunt scene behind me. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, I'll never blow through another PA lockup again. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm glad that got into your head. All right,
He's like, you're the fifth one today, but maybe I'll right my wrongs.
Maybe I'll listen from here on out when they tell me not to cross the street. We're shooting a stunt scene. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, I'm giving up an industry secret right now. They'll never let me back in on the PA side of things. But anytime you're in a city and you see people shooting a movie, and you ask them, "Are you guys making a movie? Who's in it?" They're going to tell you it's a mayonnaise commercial or it's a tampon commercial. And if they do that, that's just so you go away. Mm-hmm. Nobody makes tampon or mayonnaise commercials in Manhattan, by the way. At one time, I was working on this movie called Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close. Tom Hanks was in it, the movie, and it was really funny because somebody asked me, "What are you guys making?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a mayonnaise commercial." And then Tom Hanks walked into the set right behind me, and I was like, "Tom Hanks is doing mayonnaise commercials now?" And I'm like, "That guy will do anything for money. All right, I don't have to tell you." So,
he can sell it though. He's pretty mayonnaise as far as it goes. He's just an all-American actor.
If they did the Castaway scene with Wilson, but for a jar of fucking Miracle Whip or some shit, Hellman's, I'm sorry. I'd be like, I might just buy one just to put it on the calendar. I don't know. I don't even eat the stuff, but I might just put a little jar on the calendar, draw a face on it. I don't know.
In New York, though, I mean, you never know what you're going to see. I remember being pretty little at the time, but I was taking a trip to New York with family, and Mariah Carey was just in the middle of the street shooting some music video or something, and there's this massive crowd around because they let people watch from the sides, but they had a certain area blocked off, and it's just straight up, that's just what's happening right here on this. It was actually right next to FAO Schwartz, so we were going to the toy store, and there she was at the end of the street with this massive audience.
What year was that?
I have no idea. I know I was just really young, but I remember that moment specifically because my dad lifted me up and was like, "Hey, look, it's Mariah Carey," and I'm like, "Who the hell is that?" And he's like, "Oh, she's the Christmas lady."
Yeah. You're like, "Oh yeah, that she sings this song. I remember from the music videos."
Well, the only reason I asked is because I worked on a Mariah Carey and Justin Bieber music video.
Okay.
And it was near where you're describing in Midtown. FAO, so I'm wondering if
might
maybe
have been we didn't see Justin, but Mariah was front and center for sure. So
when did Justin come out? 2010 or later? When did Justin come out?
It was 2008, 2007, 8, I think is when Justin Bieber really hit the scene.
Let's look at it.
So
wasn't "Baby" his first song?
Yeah, with Christopher Bridges.
Christopher Bridges.
Because I can't remember what the video was for. I think it was a Christmas song. I want to say it was a Christmas. I think they redid
Only One for 2010. Like 2010 was Baby. I guess this would be.
Oh, that was just a guess. That's crazy. Oh,
yeah, wow. You're right. Yeah. But I was on that video, and it was an interesting experience because they had bought a Chase Lounge just for Mariah Carey, just for the shoot.
Oh wow!
And at the end of the shoot, the producers were like, "Just get rid of this Chase Lounge." So I called one of my friends up, and I was like, "Hey man, do you want Mariah Carey's Chase Lounge?" He's like, "Yeah, I want Mariah Carey's Chase Lounge." Because I didn't want to throw it away. I felt it was a waste. You know what I mean? Like just to throw that away because they just got rid of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I rolled out to my friends. He came and met me in the city and grabbed it off the back of the truck and took it. And now to this day, he still has it. And he tells her, "Best Mariah Carey's Chase Lounge."
I'm fucking dying. Yeah. It's like he's either keeping it or he's gonna sell it. Be like Mariah Carey is on this. You're not gonna get you ready. It is.
Right. I think he just kept it so he could tell people.
Like
by the way,
you're right though. Don't. Here, you want a drink, but don't spill nothing. Mariah Carey said on this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So you've been, I was trying to find it, but she's done a few, so it's going to take too long. But it's interesting to think that we're probably in the same place at the same time. I was definitely way too young to remember most of the details, but except for that very specific one. So you've been doing this for a while. When did you get into being a production assistant, and how did you get into that?
Well, I had originally started. I graduated from college and was lucky enough. Well, the school I went to was a Division III school. It was a small college in New York, Manhattanville College, Purchase, New York. You probably never heard of that place. And what I had done for them was helped engineer live streaming in 2003, 2004. Of sports. So we were the first school in the United States to stream live sports. And it was just because the IT guy had figured out that we could send out a signal through the site. It had enough bandwidth that it could carry a video. They didn't save it or anything like that. It was just one and done type of thing.
Gone.
And so I'd helped them create that. And then when I graduated, they were like, we don't have that capability without CJ. So let's hire him, because I had figured out how to create. They had an old switcher that nobody knew anything about that I had just kind of figured out how to plug things in. I'm really good with stuff with technology, like plugging things in, figuring out how they work, and got a switcher to work. Had 3 cameras set up for live hockey and basketball, and whatever events we were doing around the college that they wanted to stream live, a bunch of that stuff. So they realized they didn't have that capability, so they hired me, and I taught there. And then over time, working at the college, I was starting to dabble in like. I would take a vacation week or whatever and go work on a film, or something like that, or a friend's film or a friend's project. And then I started getting one of my friends in college. He actually worked as a grip. His dad owns this company called Grip Systems, where his dad was like a key grip. He worked on The Sopranos. He worked on like he's still working. My friend Chris, he's still working. He works on huge shows all the time. Like he's just constantly running. Like if I'm on his Instagram, like it's like, oh, there he is with Will Ferrell. There he is with like this actor, that actor, whatever. He's in it. And so after a while, I'd gotten sick of kind of like doing the school thing. Like I felt like I needed to be out on set because I wasn't really learning. Like I was teaching other people how to do the nuts and bolts technical stuff, which was fine. But I myself wasn't getting any experience, like real world experience, which I felt I had some kind of imposter syndrome teaching college. I was like, I shouldn't be teaching this. I barely even know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I knew what I was doing in terms of like the technical aspects of stuff, just explaining how a camera works, how to use it, shot scale, how to record sound, stuff like that. But I didn't like have the experience, the real world experience of being on a set and knowing, when you're watching things happen, or like lighting techniques, or different things like that. So I felt like I had to get out and start doing that. So I, the film business, the secret is it's who you know, right? And I knew Chris. Chris was working on big stuff. I said, hey man, can you pass my number and my name to a key PA? And Scott, this guy Scott Bowers, he's a great guy. hit me up one day, hey, can you come do a day on Salt? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come down there. And so I went and did a couple days on Salt, and he saw that I was accountable and then I could communicate, and that, I did what I was told to do. And he kept texting me, come back. And then, eventually, one day turned into a week, and then that turned into, he passed my name over to this other guy because they were looking for extra additionals on this show on Law and Order. And I did a day on Law and Order, and then I do a day on The Good Wife, and then I got kind of like hired almost like semi full-time on The Good Wife, where I worked like 3 seasons on that. And then I got full-time on another show, White Collar. And then I got in good with the KPA there and was just rolling. And then at that point, I was getting so many offers to go work on things I had to turn them down. Like I was just like, I can't work twice a day, Yeah. So it kind of just like, just who I had a friend hook it up and send my name out there, and
right place, right time, who wow. That's anybody interested, I guess, in New York. If you want a PA job, just start making connects, and you might get a call.
I always, there was a lot of people that would walk up to the set and they would be. So here's another way to do it. If you really want to start working on as a production assistant, if you want to get your foot in the door and just get into it. If you see one of those people doing lockups, telling people they can't cross the street, go up to them and say, hey, I want to be an additional. Can you give my number to the KPA? And they'll be like, sure. And if it's a big enough shoot, they're going to need bodies. Like, they don't need skilled bodies. They just need people to be there. Like, because on a movie like Salt, we had 110, I think, PAs, just production assistants.
Jeez.
110 production assistants for a couple of their shoots.
Right.
And, so they're going to need bodies. And sure enough, if they text you and you show up, you're on time, you communicate well, you do what you're told, you do the job that you're supposed to be doing, then, they'll call you back.
Yeah. And make sure they'll follow through too. So when you go up to the guy, be like, hey, pass my number along, or I'm going to ruin the scene for you. I'm going to dart past you and I'm going to get killed by this car and ruin the whole shoot. And the production will be canceled. And I'll know too. I'll know.
I'll hold on long enough just to
know that you didn't get my number.
I'll be in a coma, and then I'll be the news will be on naturally. And once I hear the movie's been canceled entirely, and then I'm just gonna flatline.
My job is done.
Oh shit!
That's awesome.
My unfinished business.
I'm sure you have endless stories about that.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever think about? I'm sure that you're already writing material about each and every one, right?
Yeah.
And you've led just a crazy life as it is, traveling from place to place. You've been all over the country essentially. So I mean, you have no shortage of stage material. So that also sets you apart, because there's a lot of people who have to really dig deep for something. But no matter what it is, as long as it's true to you, it's going to resonate with people. I mean, just hearing this, I'm sure people listening, they're like, wow, CJ's a really accomplished dude. So I mean, you're going to have no shortage of content, no shortage of material.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were a lot of. I mean, and the other thing is, when you work on a movie set, you have to realize that most of the people there are either they're wanting to do the same thing that you're doing, but a lot of those people are like trying to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I worked on this thing. There's this guy named Dave Neal. It's good buddy of mine that I worked a lot with on White Collar. He was a body double for what's his name, Matt Bomer. So he was Matt Bomer's body double, where he would come in if there needed to be hands in, like working on something or fixing a clock or something. Like, he would be Matt's hands when they would come and do pickup shots. But Dave was a comedian, so like in between takes, we'd just be cracking each other up. He'd be he'd be telling me jokes and stuff like that. And now he actually has his own podcast. He has his own. He does comedy. He travels and does comedy. I've been in touch with him since I started doing this. He's been very supportive of that. But there's something that we. I'll tell you about it. I'm working on a joke about this. I'm trying to figure out how to put it together. Yeah. But this is a real thing that happened. We were on the set of White Collar. And there was this woman that was an extra, an additional, a background actor, if you will, and we call them background. And And she was just like Dave was just spinning a yarn with her, and he was just telling her all these stories, just out of pocket things, like just making things up or whatever. And then he pointed at me and he goes, him. Yeah, he's a double too. He's actually Vin Diesel's head double. It's like anytime you see Vin Diesel like peeking around a fence, right. Yeah, that's him. And like the joke, that's a joke. Like he thought she was gonna pick up on him and be like being like silly because like there's no head double. Like it's just the actor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like so like, but she believed him. And like I was like, she's like, no, there's no way. And so like I sold it. You know, I picked up like a note card and I was like, yeah, look, you're like peeking over the fence. You know, like, and she was like, oh no, I see it. You know? So I'm trying to figure out a way to work that in or way to turn that into a joke. But I mean, maybe just telling the story would be good enough. But yeah,
you'll find a way. You'll find a way. Just trim all the fat, cut it down. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think too. Set up all the different scenarios. Set up each of the scenarios you would double for him. In a car. Like you said, behind a fence.
Oh yeah,
around a fence,
and just acting it out. That's a really good sight gag for the audience.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like peeking around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, the right side of my face looks more like Vin Diesel than the left side, so they had to have me peek to the right. Like kind of a thing.
But washing the face thing, but they're just like your face in this thing, and they hit just the back of your head.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, man, we're coming up on an hour here of recording. I just want to give you a heads up. That time really flies when we do these episodes. But I mean, like you again, such a wealth of stories. I wonder what drew you to comedy specifically. What made you decide to try it? I know you said you've been threatening to do it for many, many years, but was there a specific comedian that drew you in? Where do you have kind of an idol or anything?
I mean, so my parents were kind of hippies from the 60s, kind of that kind of, so they were, I wouldn't say loose on rules, but they were very open with what I could listen to when I was a kid.
Sure.
And one of my first memories is listening to the record of Cheech and Chong, their sketch comedy stuff that they did. Mm-hmm. And that always cracked me up. Even as like a young kid, I didn't know what they were talking about. You know what I mean? Like half the time I knew it was funny. Yeah. So like stuff like Cheech and Chong, watching Eddie Murphy as a young kid, watching Eddie Murphy Raw, watching, all the, big stand-ups throughout the years. I just always loved stand-up comedy because I like to laugh. You know what I mean? Everybody loves to laugh. And, to me, there's nothing better when there's somebody that can be on a stage for like an hour and just talking, telling a story or doing whatever they're doing. And it's funny. And, that was one of those things that I always just thought, I never thought, I could do that, and then, I think like maybe the biggest thing that really kind of made me think that maybe I could do that was actually knowing people that were doing comedy. My friend Dave does comedy, and I never was like, well, maybe I can do that. You know what I mean? Like maybe I can stand up in front of people and be funny and tell stories. And I do Uber as a side hustle, so there's lots of stories there. But when I do Uber, I like beta test material on people. I'll start cracking jokes, and
Seriously?
I'll get people laughing. I mean. You go on, and for me, for the
how
last
does that
2
go?
years,
Do you get a bad rating ever, like on the app? Do people ever go like he would not shut up? He tried to.
Well, no, I read the room. I read the room. I don't just blurt out material to people.
Okay,
if they get in the car. So this is what I do as an Uber driver in general. If you get in the car, I say, "Hey, how's it going? Confirm your name, confirm your destination," and then I say, "How are you doing tonight?" or "How are you doing today?"
Mm-hmm.
And if they say "Good," I'm quiet.
Yeah.
But if they're like, "Good, how are you?" then we have a conversation, and then I start to feel them out a little bit. And if I think they're cool, I'll start cracking jokes.
Okay.
And then, so I kind of wait. It's
a system.
And I've been doing, it's a system. And I've been doing Uber for like on the side for 10 years. So as a side hustle for 10 years. So I'm comfortable with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like having a captive audience for, 12 to 15 minutes at a time. And, for the most part, I make people laugh that are receptive. And sometimes I'll be like, "Do you want to hear a joke?" And now actually before the first night I did Hog Shack, I gave this guy a ride on my way down to Hog Shack, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm about to go do stand up. I've never said this in front of anybody. Do you mind if I practice in front of you?" Okay. And he's like, "No," and he was dying laughing the whole time, the whole ride, and then. Then I got on stage and forgot half the things I was going to say.
Sure.
And so
it's like that though. Once you get up there, you're like, oh fuck, you like, I remember this shit, and now I'm looking at all you motherfuckers looking at me, and it's like, where'd it go?
Yeah. And it's one of those things too. I think I'm just now starting to get a good feeling because I've rehearsed, I've done the material multiple times. Mm-hmm. The stuff that the set that I've really kind of worked on, I've done it multiple times, so I know it well enough that I could just speak it and I don't have to worry about losing my place or looking at notes and stuff. But now it's getting to the point where I feel comfortable just standing up in front of people talking, and the nerves kind of go away as soon as I grab the mic, and so
right.
I feel like it's starting to get that point for me anyway.
Good. Good. And that's a really great tool that you can use your side hustle as kind of like a testing ground. Like that's awesome, because normally people have to bother their spouse or a friend or somebody and be like, "Hey, can you sit down? I just run this by you and you let me know if it's complete shit or not." You can do that to unsuspecting people, which is even greater because it's a better litmus test. Is people just off the street who would ordinarily maybe even go to a show. So that's awesome. Right. That's really, really cool.
I got to start promoting shows now.
I would say, yeah, definitely.
Start plugging.
Put it in the car, in the little slip in the back seat. Have a QR code to your tickets, so people can.
My instant wall. Yeah. I don't know if I'm good enough to start selling tickets for any shows that I'm good doing right now, but at least to tell them where they could find me, when to find me there, and
definitely
show up.
Definitely.
And so,
hey, it's going to come sooner than you know. As good as you are, you're going to get showcases and stuff. Like we were talking to Kyla B earlier, and she just did a show at Hog Shack. So it's right around the corner for you, because you're very capable. So
I appreciate that.
Don't sell yourself short, though. Don't sell yourself short. Yeah. And it's all being confident too. It's all showing up, showing face constantly. Mm-hmm. The same people see you. The producers see you. They're going to tap you and be like, "Hey, you're ready. You want to do 5-10 minutes on this weekend thing? It doesn't pay very much. You get a drink ticket, but come through if you want. Send me a headshot. I'll put you on the flyer. So those things happen." And
I guess I gotta get headshots.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's a good thing. They don't have to be anything super fancy either. Just something that captures what you look like in HD, so that we can
put you right here,
right,
and then crop it and just send it to both fuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Just your setup right here. Get a little ring light and then take a picture. Hey, that's all you really need. Just shoulders and up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the headshots. I actually had headshots done in college, but because one of my friends was she was a photographer, and she wanted to practice doing headshots so that she could build a portfolio and start selling them. So I got free headshots from that, but those are like 20 years old, so I probably can't use those.
You could. It'd be a joke.
Use them. Hell yeah, use them. I've seen comics that and I've seen headshots that look nothing like the comics that I currently know. I'm like, when was this? You know what I'm saying? That's the first. When was this? This don't look like you.
Well, so the funny thing is, my appearance hasn't changed much. I have a joke that I tell that I'm half black, half white, half Mexican. You know what I mean? And you say black don't crack, right? So as I get older, I look almost the same. I have looked 40 years old since I was 17, which is why I was buying beer underage. So I was always the one that would go to the store.
Allegedly.
Actually, kind of a funny story. When I was 18, 19, 20, I used to go, there was this one specific store I would go to, and I knew the guy was he knew that I wasn't old enough, but I put on such a good act that I think he just accepted it. So I would come in and I'd have a case and I'd be like, "Oh man, job was rough today. I got to get a couple of these, throw it back." He's like, "Oh, how's the wife and kids?" "Oh, wife's good. always on my case though. Kids are great, like whatever, like I had the whole spiel, and
Wow.
I think he just liked the fact. I think he thought it was just funny.
Right. He's
like for the dedication, for the you put in the effort, you deserve this,
Yeah. He's like, I know you're only 18, but whatever. Like, fuck it. Nobody's coming. No cops coming in here.
He's like he's like, you're the only person that's talked to me this much today, so just for that.
Exactly.
Still illegal though. Still illegal.
Everyone else
this is past the statute of limitations. All right, I'm 45. You know what I mean? So this is over 27 years ago. So I can't get in trouble for this. They can't bust me for this.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or him, for that matter.
Or
we'll never say the name of the place anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to say that. I'm not.
And all of this is alleged.
It's all alleged.
It's a comedy podcast. Everything we say is alleged.
Everything. It's a comedy podcast, right?
Exactly.
But I could tell you're a salesman. When we met too. And you pulled me aside to talk about your music and stuff. I mean, it was like an elevator pitch, and I think you even said those exact words. And I'm like, you don't need to pitch me on anything, man. We're just hanging out. There's no, I know time is of the essence a lot of the time, but with this, we're all just hanging out. So don't feel like you need to sell yourself to me or anything. I understand what a force you are and where you're going to go. You're absolutely determined. So nothing's going to stop you in this. But once you get into DC, once you get into where it's, really happening, and I don't mean that to say that the shows in Virginia aren't legitimate. They are. They're just fewer and farther between than when you get into Baltimore or DC or Philly or Chicago, more wherever you end up, it's going to be more commonplace. There's going to be a lot more happening and it's going to be a lot more competitive. So then you need to pull people aside and almost corner people and be like, hey, I want a spot here. Who do I need to get in touch with? Like you said with the production assistant thing, who pass my number along to whoever it matters, because I'll be here this weekend at such and such time. I want a spot. So yeah, definitely pursue DC.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I think I might try to venture out into DC a little bit next month. My daughter's leaving on a trip from. This will be a promo from June 11th through the 14th. You can find me somewhere on a stage because I'm going to be doing comedy every night that week from the 10th through the 14th. So I'm going to try to get out and get on a stage every night that week. Hog Shack will be Wednesday, Thursday at Salisbury, Friday I don't know yet, Saturday I don't know yet, Sunday I don't know yet. I already talked to Ace about it. Ace Jackson, he's going to help me try to figure out where to go and how to get on different places. And if y'all have anything going on and of any open mics or anything where I could get on, please let me know. I would love even to do 2 or 3 in a day. You know what I mean? Like on a Saturday I could go out, Sunday I could go out and just pop around. So
sign up, get on as many sign-ups as possible, and then stagger them. So if you sign up for multiple, put a note or message the producer and say, hey, I'm trying to do this place on my way back down. Can I maybe go up early at yours? And then at the second one, same thing, be like, hey, can I go up somewhere in the middle, or maybe toward the end? And then the last one, can I go last? Essentially, so you set yourself up for success and you can make it to all 3. It's people will work with you, especially if you're being ambitious. They understand that everyone's been there. So.
And if you're traveling, they work with you too. You know what I'm saying?
No harm done.
When we come from Salisbury, we're like, hey, we came from Salisbury. We're trying to hit a few because we drove 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's hit a few spots. So it's like, and especially if some people have a lot of pull in the area, depending who they are, especially if you run your own show. So it's like, and like I said, just like the rest of the world, it's a lot about who you know. So it's gotta be cool with people.
100%.
Nepotism is real, people. You know what I'm saying? You got to utilize that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing that I felt. When I worked in film and television, I wanted to produce things, and I'd sort of been working with people to get some things off the ground. And and as things happen, things fall through, and they don't happen. But I always felt really uncomfortable with as a producer, trying to sell something that didn't exist yet, but you know what I mean? In that sense, we're trying to go out and make those connections to get that done because and maybe it's just because I was young and I didn't have that real world experience and I was trying to forge ahead on things, Whereas now I have a project that I'm working on. I have no problems with asking people to help or to be part of. And, there's I don't know if I mentioned that before. I'm working on a short film that I want to produce, my first film in 15 years, really. So, I've got something, I've got something that I've written, and that, it's like, I'm working with some people to do some shorts and some skits and stuff like that. That's just, practice for that stuff. And then, but I have something that I really want to do that's a really serious project. We could talk more about that if you want, but I don't want to go too deep into it just because I don't want to give it away right here.
No, you're fine. And actually, this is a great place to kind of wrap it up because I don't want to go too long either. My equipment has its limits, so it's going to be HD up to a point. And if we go too long, my camera will die and it's going to get messy. So I want to make sure that that we're good. But no, I mean, this was great, and you're always welcome to come back on. And I'd love, maybe, when do you think that project is going to be presented? Do you have kind of an end date?
So I would like to have something like realistically it's next summer would be my target, because there's a lot of moving pieces.
Sure.
And one of the actor that I want to have be the main character is a very busy person. He's actually in the process of launching his own brand at the moment. So I'm kind of like easing off on trying to like push ahead on it. And he's a good friend of mine. This guy, I grew up with this guy back in Fox Island, Washington, way back out in the middle of nowhere, Washington. And it's actually kind of funny because we both ended up in New York and crossed paths again and reconnected. And so now I'm trying to roll with him and try to get that going with him. But I'm just trying to let him do his thing, get his brand and his thing going, and then get him to get his time and attention on this. And but the reason also I wanted to be, out here doing comedy, another reason for it is because I wanted to meet people who might want to be in the film. So, when it gets close, I'll definitely let you all know. Maybe we can do another show and I'll put out a casting notice because I will be needing talent. I will be needing actors. I'll be needing also, production assistants, grips, electricians, the whole gambit. And most of it will be low paid. I'll tell you right now for the short, it's going to be a very low budget deal. But the idea is to take that short film to festivals, get it seen, and then to get a bigger money because I have a feature film attached to the short that I want to do. So it's just kind of a stepping stone, because a short film, if you've never made a film before, a short film is like your calling card as a filmmaker. You go out, you make a short film, people see what you can do, and then they give you money to do more. And so that's the idea. And I still have some connections in the business where once I get that short made, I might be able to get them on as a producer for a feature, which could lead to bigger and better things. So that's the goal.
Word. Well, let's get that ready to go so you can shop around and get the feature made. And yes, come back here anytime you want to plug anything you need. Like you said, put out the casting call, advertise where it's being shown, whatever you need to do, man. This is your platform as much as it is ours. And awesome. I'm very excited to see where that goes. Let me know personally if you need any help with it. I can try to lend a hand where I can. I got my plate spinning right now as we speak. I got my iron in a lot of fires, but I love collaborating with other talented artists. I love, especially if there's a vision in place. If you have an end goal, if you have it all mapped out, hey, that's even better, because I just need to know exactly what you need from me, and vice versa, so that it goes smoothly. It's when things start floundering. It's when when something's directionless that I don't want to. I have less time for that. But if you got clear vision, for sure.
No, I definitely have a clear vision for it, and I want to. The only thing is just it's going to take a little time to like I said, my actor. I want him to have the time to put into this, and so because I want it to be the best possible output that we can create. I've done things in the past where I didn't necessarily put my best foot forward when I made a short film or something to that effect, where I was like, just pushing through it just to get it done, kind of a thing. And, I kind of shot myself in the foot a couple times doing things like that in the past because I didn't take the time to make sure that like A, B, and C were all checked off before I went to D. I went from A straight to D, and then because I didn't do B and C, there were some problems. You know what I mean? And that can happen. But and when you make a film too, the other thing is that you have to be willing and able to sort of improvise a lot. And so even if you can have the best laid plans, and everything can go wrong, or things can change in an instant. And so you have to be understanding of that and have an ability to think through that and say, okay, well, if A, B, and C happens, then we're going to go in this direction, or we're going to do X, Y, or Z. You have to be willing to be able to be flexible, be able to roll with it, and then continue on. So I'm just trying to do that. But I would definitely get you guys involved. I will need background actors too. So if you ever want to just be in a scene, I will need people in the background. Just acting like you're talking, doing, pantomiming and, hanging out. I'll make sure I'll feed you at least for that if you come out, and, make sure everybody gets fed at the very least for the short. But if in the feature, I'm going to try to make sure that everybody's getting paid, for whatever they do, whether it's background acting, whether it's production assistants, everything, more than just copy and credit, because I understand that people's time is worth money and you should be compensated. And I don't think, I completely understand if you're making a film or a short sketch with your friends, nobody's getting paid. I get that. Yeah. But if it's something on a level, that you're getting people their commitment and their time, then you got to compensate them. But
let me tell you, I will quit whatever job I have at the time in order to be in this thing. I'm funny. We're gonna see what my money look like, because I'm just saying shit now. We're gonna see what my money look like with it. Because
let's get the money right first.
I might be like, actually.
Cool.
Don't quit your day job. Yeah, but thank you for having me on. I appreciate this. It's a lot of fun.
And we're not done yet. I'll plug everything coming up, everything you have. I'll pull up your Instagram here so that people can follow you.
Follow me.
Yes.
GolfBeast42 on Instagram. That's an acronym I came up with. I do play a lot of golf, so you're going to see golf stuff. You're going to see comedy. So it's just kind of a lot of different random things on my Instagram for the moment. But find me there at GolfBeast42 on Instagram. On TikTok, I'm just CJ19. That's just CJ19. That's where I'm putting all my comedy stuff on TikTok. And I'm going to be this Wednesday. I'm going to be at the Hog Shack Barbecue. Show starts at 7. If you want to sign up, 6:30. And then I'll be at the Salisbury on Thursday night doing the competition, trying to get into the finals so I can compete against Christian here, which I don't think I have a chance because Christian is a funny motherfucker.
Thank you.
So
it's going to be stiff competition. It's going to be stiff competition. There's a lot of really, really talented people in our area, and there's going to be, I think, 10, 11 contestants. So, get ready. Yeah. One night, 2 people tied, and they're both moving on. So it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 contestants, I imagine, all kind of separated from the chaff too. So the vetting's already been done. If you want to see a great show, come out to the Salisbury Center on July 2nd for a great free event with, again, 10 to 15 of the area's finest comedians. You definitely won't want to miss that, and come every Thursday to see them compete, to see them try and move on to that final round as well. Also free, also a great time. So don't miss out, and follow CJ GolfBeast42 on Instagram. What was the TikTok again? It's just CJ19.
Yep, just CJ19 on TikTok.
Go follow him everywhere that it matters, so that you can track his road to fame and success. You can see him there. That's Hog Shack. I like the new banner. It's more accurate than the old one. I don't know if you ever met Connor, but they used to do it together, and so black and white comedy was obviously Ace is not white and the other person is not black.
Well, I was really confused because I never met the white of the black and white comedy. I only met Ace from the get-go. So it's always just been Ace Jackson. So I was like, when you did the rebrand, I was like, okay, cool. Like, well, this makes more sense now. But I never met Connor, so I couldn't speak on that.
Great guy. He still does comedy, just elsewhere. So,
right.
Well, we're at the end of the show, and don't go anywhere because we'll talk once this is over. We'll talk for a little bit, but Lorenzo gives advice at the end of the episode about anything we may or may not have talked about during the recording. So without further ado, sir, take it away. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. My first word of advice for the people is when you see the PAs, definitely dart past them as quick as you can. Just be a little vigilant though. Look both ways when you cross the street. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Those paychecks are there. As you heard, cars are doing crazy ass fucking turns, and that, you know what I'm saying? That's a good way to get
when you describe that scene, I imagine the Flash movie, you know, with Batman chasing the armored car around the corner, the way it like whips around. I just imagine all those children with the school bus getting just taken out or something like that. Just some horrific accident like that.
I bet that should be crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh. But also look for CJ's short film. Me and Christian are both going to be in it. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. I'm about to save my money up. You know what I'm saying. I'm about to be in here. I might be a PA. What now? Anyone looking for jobs? There's no excuse now. You just got the cheat code to be a PA. They need people. They don't give a fuck. You just have to have a body. You have a body if you're listening to this. You know what I'm saying? You know, do they take people in wheelchairs? I be trying to think of how to say it sometimes, but I'll just say it. Yes, that's my real question.
Were you gonna say crippled? Were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say crippled, but you know, I started thinking and I was like, fuck the thinking. I'm gonna just ask the real question. Do they
disabled?
Handicap.
Do they care?
What's your handicap, CJ? You're a golfer.
And my golf handicap, well, right now I'm playing as a 19, but I've shot an 82 this year. This was my lowest so far, so I was 11 over. Yeah. I play on an amateur tour. We can get more into that another time. But
so you'd say you're a handicapped PA then?
Yeah.
Asked and answered.
More or less.
Anything else, Lorenzo? What else do you have?
Let's see. We talked about a lot. We be talking. Here's another thing. Let me tell y'all. If anybody tries to stifle your dreams and desires, you gotta put you first 100% at all times. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta chase what you want. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be the very best like no one ever was in every single thing that you do. You know what I'm saying? And like, don't step on other people to do that, but just perform your best within yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you're not doing adequate enough, or if you feel unsatisfied, because one of the most important things in life is to have like something that you do, whether you call it a hobby, whatever you call it, you have to do something for yourself. You have to have something. You got one fucking life. You only got one of these. You should want to be happy in this one life that you have. And whatever you want to do, you know what I'm saying? As long as it don't hurt no fucking body, you gotta do that shit. Find you an art form, find you something. And if anybody doesn't want you to grow or express yourself or perform your art, don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't be around that person too long. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta really, you have to stand up for yourself sometimes, and it hurts when it means that some people you love or may have loved for a long time have to go, but at the same time, it's better for everybody. It's better for everybody.
Yeah,
sure. I'm sure it's better for your daughter in many ways too. You know, she's going to grow up seeing both of her parents be happy instead of being, you know, unhappily together.
Well, you know, it's funny. After the first night I did stand up, I told my daughter about it, and I was coming to tell my ex-wife that I was never going to come on Wednesday nights because I'm committed to doing stand up at least on Wednesday nights. And before I could say anything, my daughter went running in the room because I didn't tell my ex. I wasn't going to tell her I was doing stand up. I was just going to tell her I'm not going to be here. I got something going on Wednesdays. Yeah. And before I could say anything, my daughter comes running in and goes, "Daddy's going to be doing stand up every Wednesday night." And then she turns and she goes, "You should quit your job and do stand up." And I'm like, "That's not really how this works." All right. I was like, "You need benefits. All right. Like, you need the benefits that I have in order to live. So let's take it one step at a time."
And I love that because she sees that it makes you happy, and she's like, I want him to be so fucking happy. You know what I'm saying? And like, you gotta love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
Yeah, that shit.
Without a doubt.
And just to add one thing to what you were saying,
Yeah.
I think what you're getting at, like, there's some really smart person once told me, you got to feed your stomach and you got to feed your soul, right? Sometimes the really lucky people feed their soul and their stomach at the same time, right? Everybody else got to do something they don't necessarily like to feed their stomach, but then you have to also make sure you feed your soul. And if somebody that's in your life isn't allowing you to feed your soul, then they're not the right person to be around.
Snip, snip. Cut it, come out your hair. You know what I'm saying? Come out your hair. Or I don't know. Come out your beard. I don't fucking know.
Some body hair area.
Go wherever they may be hair is somewhere.
It's been a long day for us as well, if you can't tell. We did one earlier this morning, and I took a big, long, fat nap, so I have no excuse. I'm also sick, but hopefully the sniffling wasn't too distracting. Thank you, man, for joining us, really, CJ. This was awesome. And come back, like I said, anytime you want, so we can talk all your upcoming projects. We can plug those to no end. We want everyone to get eyes on what you have coming up, because it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Indeed.
CJ Howard, everybody on the podcast. Look him up, follow him. Thank you, everybody, for watching the podcast, L&C Podcast, here on YouTube. We are also on Spotify and Apple, but we're not currently uploading. That will come back soon. But for the time being, YouTube is our home. YouTube is where we belong. We get our most of our views here anyway, so please like and subscribe here. And comment. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If there's any way we can improve, let us know. If there's anything that you want to see that we're not doing, let us know. I read everything. So if you see the little L&C symbol heart, your comment, that's me. It's no secret. We don't have any production assistants. We don't have a big team of people. This is just kind of a backroom operation here, or in the little office area of my apartment. With my boy, I'm literally in an office with my boyfriend next to me playing Crimson Desert. So if you heard any clickety clanking, that's him on the Xbox controller.
So paranoid. It's like I'm trying to think. What's that fucking show? Yeah, it's some show. I don't fucking know. I'll remember it later. I'll bring it up next episode.
But yeah, we're moving up. We're moving up slowly and surely, improving. It's in no short. It's thanks to people like you, CJ, for coming on and spreading the word. You being here gives us exposure too, so it goes both ways, man.
It's so too. What? Because you think when CJ's huge, I'm definitely bringing this episode up and making clips and acting like we were there the whole time.
All right, everybody.
I know him from day one.
Thanks for listening, y'all. Like, subscribe. See you.
Deuces, do.